Okay, so I fed the power steering line down there, this one here that connects to the reservoir. But make sure when you do that you put these lines on the right side of each other, because I had them crossed and this AC line, this thin one, was over on the other side of it and I wasn't able to get it into the bracket there. So rather than disconnect where it connects to the body down there and from the power steering pump, I just disconnected it right here and then took it around it and got that popped back into place. And then I put the two screws on the brackets for this AC line, one back there and then the one right here, and I got my reservoir back in place there. And I did the air box over here, ended up putting the filter back in too even. On this there are two electrical connectors back here. They're pretty easy to tell where they go. They pretty much only reach to the right place and only fit each other, or only fit their respective connection. And then there is a line that connects, like a vacuum line there that connects with a clamp on the side, and I don't know if I can get to it here, but underneath there is a line that comes around from over here. So you got to pop it in here, pop it in here, and then it tucks down underneath and comes up to the bottom, and then there's a clamp on there as well, which I got from over back in here. But I got the I don't know if I had it in, but I got the battery tray in, all the clips and everything I popped in. There was also this line here, coming from right here. It came back into there, so I had to get that one on. And it was a little fun getting the clamp onto the intake there. Just not a lot of room back there, but get that on first, of course. And then let's see, I think I'm ready to do the subframe. I know I keep saying that, but I just want to make sure I have everything ready to go. I did get this kind of fixed as best I could. I did the galvanized pipe strap thing. I got those nuts. It's not the same thread, so I just kind of tightened it up on there to where it's locked into place, and that'll hold that up in there. So that's really all I need. Not too worried about that much. I can get to that pretty easily. And I think it looks to me like everything's ready to go under here. The exhaust pipe I'm gonna wait to wrap around after I get the subframe up, and I gotta make sure I get this underneath the sway bar and that coming around. Well, I now have two steering knuckles ready to go. I was going to go to the machine shop. In fact, I did go to the machine shop. I went to the local Napa, and they wanted $70 to swap out the bearing and push in the hub. And I don't know, maybe I'm cheap, but that seemed like way too much to me. So I decided rather than pay all that money for just that tiny bit, that I would go and buy a press for my friend Brian's shop. Ended up paying about $250 out the door, but it's a 20-ton press, and it worked beautifully. It was kind of a pain putting together, but it works good. And my bearings are really, I don't know, really nice and quiet. And I actually had a little problem with my power steering lines. It turns out that this is like the transmission issue with different transmissions. Apparently there must be different rack and pinions, because this pressure feed tube assembly, I think that's what it's called, This one says that it's for the 2005 to 2010, but it does not fit. This one is my original one, and it is slightly different, particularly on how these lines over here go. On that one they do not go parallel, on this one they do. So I am going to have to take this one off and return it, and I was able to find another one of these ones through Parts Geek. It was like $82 or $83, so a little over $100 with shipping and everything, or just around $100. But I almost went ahead and used this one until I started looking at it, and not only is it really rusty and stiff, on this one here, on this one here, you can actually see it's taken some pieces of the rack and pinion with it, seized into there, and ripped out the threads from the rack and pinion. So really this one needs replaced, and they do actually recommend that if your vehicle is more than 5 years old, that you do replace the high pressure power steering lines. So, you know, up to you, but in my case I kind of have to. So and I think I'm gonna be waiting a couple days on the power steering lines. So as much as I didn't want to, I'm probably gonna end up switching over to the back and putting that back together, and then coming back to this once I get the power steering line. So sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but you know, I don't want to just do nothing and wait for this, you know what I mean? So I'll do what I can to try and keep in the same order. One thing I wanted to mention, Mikey, who works for Brian, really helped me out a lot with this. I really felt pretty confident that I could do it on my own, but having not used a hydraulic press to do anything like this before, it did feel better having somebody there who was a little more confident about it. I do feel like the next time I need to do it, I could do it on my own. Everything's really about making sure that you're level and that you're not pushing at an angle, which is a lot easier with the press than it is with just the sleeves. But I do want to say this sleeve kit was amazing. This is perfect for pressing with a hydraulic press. You can use it the same way you would with the rods. It's just with the press it's a whole lot easier. So you got to get one of these sets. Okay, so we're getting the lower suspension going in the rear here. This bushing up in the front is the biggest part here. That one, you want to make sure you attach it to the lower control arm before you bolt it up in there, or you won't be able to get the lower control arm up into it because it won't go straight without this bushing being inside the bracket there. So you need to put that on there, put this one in, and then mount this one up here. Now on this one, this has 3 bolts, 2 on this side and then 1 on the other side. Those connect to the body. There's the end bolt there, and there's a bolt underneath the bracket, and there's a bracket bolt for the parking brake over here. Can you see it there? You can kind of see it around on the far side there. Yeah, right there. That little one there. There's actually 2 holes. When you put the bracket in there, the bracket has a hole and it also has a tab. So it's going to come from underneath up into the bracket back there, and it holds it so that it's not kinking the parking brake too much and
you don't really have to worry too much about which way to run it. It kind of guides you. But as far as that goes, that one is 53 inch-pounds, which if you're using anti-seize on it, then it's going to be 37. But before you do that one, make sure you do the bolt that's up above it for this bushing, because the parking brake ends up in the way of that bolt. So get those 3 bolts on here torqued. They're 48, so if you do the anti-seize, it's going to be 34. Make sure you get those 3 all torqued up. The one on the end, the nut on the end there, that one you're just going to tighten up temporarily, just not torqued but like snugged up. And the same with this one in the back here, snug that one up as well. And then we'll end up getting to these ones here. This is for our bushing on the knuckle and the ball joint on the knuckle. And this one is going to end up being 55 foot-pounds. This one is 77, and then this front one here ends up being 81, and the back one here is 85. But you want to just temporarily do that back one and this front one here until we stabilize the suspension. So we're going to get them all snugged up, and then we're going to lower it and kind of bounce it a little bit to get the bushings seated where they need to be, and then we're going to torque them down. Now this bottom one here, I have not found a torque spec for that one yet. I'll have to do some searching and see if I can find it. It's not really that critical like the other ones are, but the one on the end, I did use anti-seize on. The numbers that I gave you for that, and these 2 on the front and the one in the back there, those are the dry torque values. So when I get to actually torquing those, I'll give the reduced values, or the torque reduction. Let's see. I'm gonna get that parking brake cable connected up in there, and I think the next step, we're gonna start connecting the steering, or the knuckle, spindle, whatever you want to call it, the rear axle carrier, I think they call it. But we're gonna start connecting that on the bottom here, and get that strut in there soon. The only issue with the strut that I'm having, that you're gonna probably have too if you're doing what I've done, which is disconnect the battery. The back hatch only opens by electricity, so if you don't have the battery in, you can't even open the back hatch. So I will be crawling in through the front to connect my bolts up in there. That should be fun, but it'll work. One last thing, I did grease the heck out of my bushing back in there and the canister one here, because, well, you know, that's just what I do. So I greased all over, silicone grease all over that one, silicone greased all over that one there, and I even used used anti-seize on the bolt there. I'm just using regular anti-seize on these ones back here. I don't really see any reason to use anything else, so that's what I'm using back here. Well, we're making some progress here. I got the rear axle carrier assembly in. I got the upper control arm connected to the top, greased the heck out of the bushing and anti-seize on the bolt. And I also got the lower one here, the bushing. Both of these, the bolt comes in from the back side, if you're not sure.
and then the nut on the front side. On this bottom one here, I believe it was, there's a stopper on the nut, so you're going to want to turn the bolt, and then the ball joint over here. And the ball joint and this one you're going to temporarily tighten, just get them snugged up. Don't actually torque them yet, because we'll have to stabilize the suspension and do those afterwards. On this, get the bottom in first, because if you attach the top, it will not allow you to get the ball joint straight and the bushing in. You have to kind of angle it out to get both of those in, and then you don't necessarily have to bolt it yet, just get them into the brackets and then come up here and connect this one here. And then once you get this one here, then it's pretty easy to get down here to the bushing and the ball joint as well. The parking brake cable, don't attach it there yet, at least until you get it into the bracket here, because it's not very flexible and you need to get it there before you block it in the wrong place and keep it from getting kinked. So I'd say do that one last. And this top one you're also gonna just temporarily tighten too. So all three of them basically are just temporarily tightened, and then we're gonna come back and tighten them up after we lower it and bounce the suspension to stabilize the suspension. I think the next step is to put the strut in, but I did want to say on the stabilizer bar back here, or sway bar, whichever you want to call it, on those bolts, I don't think that I torqued them yet. I'm going to need to get in there and do that, but the torque spec drives 26. I'm not sure exactly what the reduction would be. I'm guessing around 18 or 19, but I'd have to check it to see. So let me go ahead and do the other side and put the struts in, and actually it might possibly be this lateral arm here that needs to go in next. And for some reason they call this the lower control arm in the service manual, and this other one is the rear suspension arm. So different terminology than how I'm used to. I found this a little humorous. I got this in here and I decided to turn the hub a little bit, and doesn't sound very good. It's because the parking bracing's against the bottom, so it spins just fine. Okay, so I'm catching up on the other side here, just about caught up. I got the strut in here. The way that I was able to get it in there, yeah, I greased it up, but the way I got it in there was to lower it down into here by the bottom end, and then to slide it up into the top holes there. And then once you get it there, to get it in, you just basically get it over near the bracket and then pull down on the control arm, or the suspension arm, a tiny bit, and you can slide it right in there. And then what I did is put the through bolt in the bottom, and then go up above and jack the suspension arm up from underneath once the through bolt's through most of the way, and then go up above and put the tower bolts, I guess you might call them, on, or tower nuts, put those on up there. So right now I'm going to go ahead and torque those up. They're 59 foot-pounds, the 3 bolts on each one. I'm not going to use anti-seize on them. They're basically inside, and there was no corrosion or anything like that. So I'll get those in, and then the next thing is going to be the lateral arm, or what they call the lower control arm, coming from there down to here. And this bottom bolt on the strut, you don't want to torque that one either. That one we're going to keep loose so we can stabilize the suspension, and then we'll tighten that one up too. And that one Yeah, I don't know yet. I'll have to check the torque spec on it. It's pretty high, but I'll get back to you on that one. So there's never a dull moment. When you get parts, make sure you check your parts really closely. This part here was a little messed up. The top here, right here, was bent this way, and the metal down here is actually broken right across there, just above the weld. It bent so far over that, there we go, that it actually cracked the metal. So I used a piece of wood against it and a sledgehammer and hammered it back to where it's straight there. I'm gonna go ahead and put everything together still, and once I get to the point of going to get an alignment, we'll take a moment to take the strut out there and tack a weld across there. So kind of unfortunate, but I certainly don't want to take everything back apart so I can send this back and wait for them to send me another one. Just check everything. Okay, so I got the top nuts for the struts in. There's back there two on the back side of that little pillar there, and then one on the front side underneath there. Just pull the carpet up to get to it. You could take the carpet out if you want, but it's a whole lot more work. And if you have to come in this way, hopefully you're not in the desert like me in the middle of the summer, because it is 97 degrees and there is no wind, and it took a while to tighten those bolts up. So I was kind of in and out, taking shifts, you know, coming in and then going out and cooling down and coming back. But those bolts or nuts, you're going to torque to 59 foot-pounds, and no reason to use anti-seize on them. They're inside, and unless you can't do 59 foot-pounds, I don't really see any reason to. And next I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. I'll go ahead and do the lateral control arms or lower control arms, whatever they call them. And I'll probably hook up the stabilizer links too, and then I'll get back to you. Hey everyone. Hopefully you'll like this one as much as I did. So this is my original rack and pinion high pressure power steering lines, the pressure tube feed or pressure feed tube assembly, something like that. I have been trying to get a replacement for that and have been unable to. This is the first replacement that I ordered for it, and as you can see, the ends here don't line up right. So this one actually was on Rock Auto, and then I ended up cross-referencing it and getting it from Walmart. However, both of them showed the picture exactly the same way as this, and I didn't realize it until I actually got it that it did not fit. I installed this one and it would not fit on the rack and pinion. So I found another one online from Parts Geek, and it looked the same. So I ordered it. I got it. It is the same as the other one. So I'm trying to figure out, why is this so different? How can they have so many different rack and pinions for this vehicle? They don't. What I figured out after a lot of thinking about it and checking this out and comparing the two, these two lines on here, this line here is supposed to be here, and this line here is supposed to be here. So then these two would be next to each other, like that one. And this is multiple companies that make this assembly, and they're making it wrong. So pretty much anybody who gets this is going to think they got the wrong part, when all they need to do is switch those two hoses on that bracket there. And I tried to tell Parts Geek that, and
I don't think it went anywhere. So hopefully you'll see my video and realize what you need to do and won't have so much headache.